Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Yeah. Traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, his last fight when he fought Lamont, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul, so I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me, so...
Joe Rogan recently sounded the alarm for Jake Paul as he gears up to face Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan stressed that stepping into the ring with a knockout machine like Davis is an entirely different level from the opponents Jake has taken on in the past. While he gave Paul credit for putting in the work and steadily improving as a boxer, Rogan pointed out that Tank's explosive power, lightning speed, and high fight IQ could brutally highlight any flaws in Jake's game. In Rogan's eyes, this isn't some casual celebrity showcase, it's a serious and risky matchup that could go south quickly if Paul isn't fully prepared.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta "Tank" Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Joe Rogan has often highlighted just how frightening Gervonta "Tank" Davis's punching power really is, even likening it to a smaller version of Mike Tyson. On a recent discussion with comedian Ali Sadiq, Rogan broke down Davis's 7th-round stoppage of Ryan Garcia, pointing out how Davis manages to unleash massive power despite his relatively compact build. Rogan noted that there's nothing extraordinary about Davis's physique at first glance, yet his strength in the ring is deceptive and dangerous. He also underlined Davis's relentless, forward-pressing fight style, which makes him one of the most intimidating figures in boxing today.
Giant Gervonta fan. I think that guy is so unusual.
Yeah.
His style so unusual, and his patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And the fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because you just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved as a person who really enjoyed technique. I like watching someone who's exceptional.
Although Rogan maintains that Jake Paul isn't prepared to face elite fighters like Gervonta "Tank" Davis, he has still given Paul a great deal of respect for what he's achieved. Rogan has called Paul's navigation of the celebrity-driven side of boxing genius, crediting him for building a career that delivers massive paydays while also showcasing authentic skills inside the ropes. In Rogan's eyes, Paul has gone beyond the label of YouTuber and has proven he possesses real technique, fight IQ, and promotional savvy that keep him in the spotlight. Still, Rogan is careful to point out that Paul's matchups are as much entertainment as they are competitive sport.
But is this Logan Paul, is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. It's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, highly promotable, really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you'd be like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Much of the buzz surrounding this potential fight comes from the massive size difference between the two men. Jake Paul, who measures in at about 6 feet 1 inch and fights around 199 pounds as a cruiserweight, towers over Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Davis, the reigning WBA lightweight champion, stands roughly 5'5" 1/2 and usually competes near 135 pounds. That nearly 60-pound gap has fueled debate about whether the matchup is truly fair or even safe. Still, both camps have signed on, with Paul reportedly cutting down to 195 pounds to help narrow the divide and make the exhibition bout more balanced.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, get my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of off the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Rizabuyov. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Rizabuyov is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. And Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude, 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach disadvantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, bud. But she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Rizabuyov, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, jab to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat, use your speed, get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around, keeping the big man moving. And I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm no Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power, but he's just not that quick. And Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now, there is no way in the world Gervonta Davis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But Gervonta Davis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move, jab to the body and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded. But if you're going anywhere to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be. And it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta "Tank" Davis.
For Gervonta Davis, the biggest gamble isn't physical, it's his reputation. Taking on Jake Paul, who holds a 12-1 record but is still viewed as relatively green in professional boxing, carries the risk of damaging Davis's credibility if things go wrong. On the flip side, Paul has everything to gain. A win over an undefeated world champion would instantly elevate his status and silence many critics. Still, not everyone buys into the matchup. Some boxing voices, including Ryan Garcia, have openly dismissed the fight as more entertainment than competition, comparing it to scripted wrestling rather than a genuine test of skill. Garcia even ridiculed the idea of Davis trying to bulk up close to 195 pounds, calling it unrealistic and warning that boxing is sliding further into spectacle over sport. Despite the controversy, interest is sky high. With Netflix set to stream the bout worldwide, the event is expected to capture massive attention. But for purists, this feels like another step in boxing's shift from merit-based competition to money-driven showdowns, a shift that critics fear could erode the sport's integrity.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? You know, there's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, you know, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and, you know, Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you, you're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. You know, everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime. And Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous.
Joe Rogan has also raised eyebrows about Jake Paul's choices outside of the Davis fight. He pointed to Paul's decision to postpone a potential clash with Anthony Joshua until 2026, questioning the move and even joking that it seemed unusual when both fighters appear ready to compete. Rogan suggested the delay might signal hidden motives rather than genuine preparation. When it comes to the Davis matchup, Rogan and many analysts agree that Paul's size advantage might not be enough. Former champion Sean Porter confidently predicted a knockout for Gervonta "Tank" Davis, saying he'd put money on Tank to get the finish. Boxing experts largely echo that sentiment, believing Davis's elite speed, ring intelligence, and power will outweigh Paul's physical tools. Industry insiders were quick to weigh in as well. Some critics argue that the matchup damages the credibility of professional boxing, while others acknowledge that, regardless of merit, the spectacle guarantees massive financial and promotional success.
What Gervonta Davis did for your preparation?
You know what? I think getting him on the back end of the sparring was more so to make sure the eyes and the focus and everything's there. He is one of the sharpest boxers I've ever been in the ring with, and I'm sure it won't change. It won't change much after being in the ring with Terrence. I would imagine that Terrence will be the sharpest, but that boy Tank is sharp.
What do you think?
Will Tank Davis knock out Jake Paul? That's a question that many people are asking now that they're actually set to fight November 14th. Most people think that the weight disadvantage is going to play a major role in how this fight's going to turn out. Personally, I could kind of see a knockout. We already saw how Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather did, and that was like the same type of weight difference, I believe. Also, on top of that, any punch could be a knockout shot. It just has to be placed well with time, and we know that Tank has explosiveness and amazing timing and accuracy. So at the end of the day, it's always possible. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think it's just going to be another Jake Paul decision fest match. I don't think that anything super exciting is going to happen, but it is kind of interesting to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You could knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you were saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Daniel Cormier was stunned when news broke about Jake Paul taking on Gervonta "Tank" Davis, stressing that the massive 60-pound weight difference was the most shocking part of the matchup. Speaking on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, Cormier said the fight feels more like an entertainment spectacle than a traditional boxing contest. Still, despite the size gap, he interestingly leaned toward Davis as the betting favorite, pointing to Tank's elite skills rather than Paul's promotional edge. Meanwhile, ahead of Jake Paul's clash with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Georges St-Pierre offered his own advice. He warned Paul not to get hung up on past defeats, particularly the loss to Tommy Fury. Drawing from his own upset loss against Matt Serra, GSP explained that chasing revenge can be both dangerous and distracting at the same time. St-Pierre admitted he was impressed with Paul's progress, especially after his win over Anderson Silva. He highlighted Jake's sharp discipline, effective body work, solid defense, and surprising ring IQ. GSP also gave Paul credit for his business savvy and relentless work ethic, acknowledging that both Paul brothers have capitalized on the opportunities of the social media era, though he cautioned that they still aren't part of boxing's true elite just yet.
Yo, so Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis. I'm serious. It's real. 199 in Paul's last fight, 133.8 for Davis in his last fight. I discussed that and so much more at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. The link will be in my bio. But hey, I thought he was going to fight Anthony Joshua. How do you end up from Anthony Joshua to Tank Davis? I discuss.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Serra on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task, because that could be a big mistake.
Boxing great Carl Froch didn't hold back when giving his opinion on the upcoming Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Tank Davis fight, blasting it as nothing more than a circus act. Froch argued that the matchup does nothing to advance the sport and criticized Paul's resume, saying many of the names on it, like Mike Tyson and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., were long past their prime. He went so far as to claim that if he were to come out of retirement, he'd happily teach Paul a lesson inside the ring. Even now. To Froch, this clash highlights how boxing is sliding towards spectacle over substance. Instead of a true sporting contest, he sees it as a money-driven exhibition, fueled by huge weight differences, relaxed rules, and streaming hype. Other voices in the sport echoed that sentiment. Former world champ Andre Berto described the fight as a calculated financial play, prioritizing big paydays over boxing's credibility. On The Herd, analysts went as far as calling the bout baffling, warning that it signals boxing's slow drift toward becoming more like sports entertainment than competition. Even Ryan Garcia, once Davis' rival, dismissed the matchup as a joke fight, comparing it to the theatrics of WWE rather than real boxing.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf, and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
At first, Gervonta Tank Davis completely dismissed Jake Paul, branding him a clown and insisting he didn't belong anywhere near a boxing ring, even suggesting he wouldn't fight him for any amount of money. But over time, Davis' stance has softened. He admitted that while he still views Paul with some skepticism, he's come to respect the YouTuber's dedication. Davis noted that Paul isn't just chasing hype, he's genuinely working to establish himself in the sport. He even acknowledged Paul's mental toughness and commitment, pointing out that while his skills haven't reached an elite level yet, his determination and seriousness as a boxer are undeniable.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown.
I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, "Yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul"? Would you be like, "Come on, man"?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him?
At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah,
like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah.
Gotta be mentally tough to be able to box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
What's your take on Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Gervonta "Tank" Davis despite such a massive size difference? Share your thoughts in the comments below.